Ladies and gentlemen, 20. We are at episode 20 of Gas Bags Radio. Did not think it was going to last this long. That's what she said. But it is 20 episodes. Nick Valvano, Jason Jenkins. We did that one in stereo. I kind of like that. Yep. That was good. At Jenky, your boy on Twitter. At Nicky Vespin on Twitter. Our boy Tanner Bertamesso got called Battlefield promotion to do the roundtable, which is airing right now. So he will pop in sporadically. But yeah, it's your boys. It's the Gas Bags, episode 20. And we have kind of an abbreviated show today because yours truly has to, as I'm dressed like a Mormon, I have to get to the restaurant tonight. But we were able to cram.
Lulu on Market. If you're peckish tonight, go see Nick.
Yeah, come see me. By all means, come see me even when I'm not working. But when I am working, I guarantee you the food will cover up that mediocre service you'll get. But delicious stuff nonetheless. Speaking of delicious stuff, this was Jenky's idea. He stumbled upon something, and I'll let you take it away from me.
So, Twitter they found me on Twitter.
Right.
God sent it, apparently. But I saw...
We are on a mission from God now.
I saw a thing. It was all the different styles of hot dogs. Like not just in our country, but they had like Philippines and
they did have international ones.
Yeah, international ones that were on there. You kind of don't see I think the Philippines was like a hot dog and an egg and something else.
Yeah.
It was served without bread, which the different way people eat their cylindrical meat.
Well said.
Yeah,
cylindrical meat.
Yeah. So
sounds like a punk band,
right? The cylindrical meat.
Cylindrical.
What
meat.
are you seeing tonight? Cylindrical meat. Yes, you are. No, but so we thought about talking about what our favorite style of dog is, because there are so many different ones. I think there were 30.
Oh, at least.
On that sheet.
At least 30 different styles. But none of them were from.
None from Louisville.
The closest one was Cincinnati. I believe they had the Cincinnati Coney dog.
Yes,
there,
they did.
I believe. Yeah,
yep.
But there was nothing from our region, nothing from Louisville. That was the closest one. Cincinnati, Chicago dog. I know the New York dog was on there too.
They had Michigan.
Yeah,
they called it the Michigan. So, and what's funny is, I work with a bunch of people that are from the Detroit, Flint area, right?
Right.
Just based on DuPont closing down most of their paint plants or selling them off or whatever. A bunch of those people got displaced. They end up in different plants. A bunch of them end up here in Louisville. They actually call it Flint style.
A Flint style.
They call it Flint. It's a Flint Coney. And Flint Coneys, I guess, are a little bit different than the standard Coney that you would get. They've made them before.
Interesting.
To be 100% honest with you, it's kind of the same.
Is it really?
Yeah. They say that their chili sauce is different.
Oh, well, Cincinnati does have that,
which is true, but definitely different than Cincinnati. Cincinnati's is very unique because of the Skyline Gold Star style of chili, which I actually like.
I don't hate it. Right. I don't. I'm not going to say it's not my favorite, but it's a solid medium thumb for me. Because I don't mind it.
If you think about it, when you're making a meat sauce, right? So, let's say you're making a meat sauce for spaghetti.
Right.
The way I make it, which obviously I'm not Italian, but the way I make it, it comes out a lot like a chili. It's thick. It's hearty. I put the ground beef and the Italian sausage in it.
I was gonna say you gotta have the sausage for the flavor.
I use onions, black and green olives.
Oh wow! Nice.
I load it up. So when it comes out, it's
pretty good. Actually,
there's a lot to it. It's substantial.
Yeah. It's very, very, very hearty. But it's not just like the Cincinnati chili also has that weird texture. It's like finely chopped meat. It's almost like a paste as opposed to like a sauce. Like yours sounds like it'd be really hearty.
It is. And I think depending on how long you boil your Cincinnati chili down, it becomes thicker.
Yeah.
Right? Because really what you're doing is you're just evaporating all of it. And the less runny it is for me, the better it is. Like I don't want to see water in the underneath of my plate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's when I do it, when I make it, that's the way I do it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense.
But in finding all these hot dogs, the Carolina dog, they've got like coleslaw on it, and
right?
Like the gold mustard and shit like that, which is very good. Like that combo is awesome. Slaw dogs are amazing. Memphis has got one with like a barbecue. They've got different ones like sausages and stuff like that because apparently sausage counts as hot dog now.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. Like
I've been up and down on this, but I've seen people really pushing for the fact that it's in the bun is what makes it the hot dog, and the sausage is just a variant of said hot dog.
What about brats? Like that's
same thing.
Yeah, like a Milwaukee beer brat, know, something like that.
And some of those were on there too, like like your Polish sausages. I think your beer brat was on there. There were a bunch of them.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. We retweeted it.
Yep.
I'm sure you've seen it perusing around. But we got this idea. Jenky was like, "What if we tried to come up with a Louisville style hot dog?" And yours truly over the weekend, with the help actually of my parents and my parents' friends, on a whim, kind of decided we just started spitballing some ideas, and we came up with something that we called the Lou Dog, which was also where Jenky's head was at.
Absolutely.
Jenky was thinking, when you think of Louisville, you think of hot browns. So we decided to come up with a hot brown inspired hot dog.
Yeah.
And what we did was, and I'm using the lid of a Tupperware here.
I have a real plate.
Yeah, he has a real plate. He's fancy.
Yep.
First off, a couple of things. I use the shittiest hot dogs that money can buy.
Which is fine.
And I did that intentionally. One, because I'm cheap, but two, also, I wanted to see if it worked or worked enough with the shitty hot dog. Right. Imagine what it could do with a nicer hot dog. Yep. And there are some good local pork products, like Fisher's comes to mind, something along those lines.
Oscar's Myers.
Oscar, yeah. So you can get like a good local meat chain to make your hot dog. Now, what we did was my man Rob next door, in addition to making great cookies, also made this marinade right here. It's a bourbon and brown sugar marinade. And we used an actual meat infuser when we did this. This go around, we just sprayed some on top of the hot dog, just a little drizzle.
Drizzly.
But it's a nice little marinade. So it's a bourbon marinated or bourbon infused hot dog. Now, what are the components of a hot brown? A lot of you guys know. Tomato, bacon, which we have a slice of a couple slices of each on the hot dog, and Mornay sauce. I actually made this homemade Mornay sauce with pecorino cheese. And, we melted that down. Yep. And then I decided this was kind of me and a neighbor's idea.
The Henry Baines.
The Henry Baines.
Which is a great move.
So it's not exactly a hot brown. But we use the Henry Baines sauce, famous from the Penn Dennis Club. And put a little bit of that on there. Now, when we originally made it, we used toasted bread. But just for the sake of convenience, we're using hot dog buns this go around.
Because I think one of the things in making this dog is making it like a hot dog where it can be eaten by hand, as opposed to with the knife
and that's where I'm torn. And this is where I need you and Tanner, and maybe in the future when we go to our buddy Chef John at Chef's Cut, get some culinary. This is like the concept is here. Now comes the feedback and execution, because we actually just brought it to the guys on the round table.
Strebel and Godby.
And they said that the concept and the taste actually A minus, A plus, some, varying in A's.
Execution was poor.
Execution's a C plus. And we're using, quite honestly, shitty beef and shitty hot dogs and this bacon.
This is microwave bacon.
This is microwave bacon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When we made it yesterday at the cookout, we used better bacon.
Yeah.
And we actually were able to infuse the hot dog a little bit. So even though the hot dog itself wasn't great, it had proper bourbon infusion, which helped. But I'm torn on the bun because I agree. I think you need something that keeps it mobile and hot dog-like for your cylindrical meat.
Yep.
Yeah, you need something like that. But when we toasted bread and put it down there, first off, it gave it a little bit more of that hot brown concept, but it also kind of sopped up the sauces a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We might have to. And the other thing is, we talked about there could be varying styles.
Right.
There could be a Jenky style of the Lou Dog. There could be a Nick style of the Lou Dog. Yeah. Depending on the mild variations, but the ingredients are going to be mostly the same. Which one?
That sauce.
The bourbon sauce? Yeah. The bourbon brown sugar marinade's awesome.
Yep. So, very good. And it pops out hardest the first.
Mm-hmm. What would be a Jenky and a Nick style hot dog?
Well, that's a good point.
So the turkey, right? My thought is turkey dog. So split turkey dog, grilled on both sides.
Now, the split part is intriguing to me because what's that going to do for the texture? Is it going to give it a little singe, similar to that of like a smash burger? Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued by that. Jenky style sounds like it could be.
Do you not split your wieners?
I do not split my wieners. I eat them straight up.
So, and the Mornay sauce is really good. Thank you. But yeah, like when you split it, you can run it on like a griddle. Mm-hmm. When you flip it over, or even a pan, right? Mm-hmm. It sears the inside. Like we do it a lot with, like me and my buddy at work. He picks up Georgia Red Hots all the time.
Okay.
And so when he picks up Georgia Red Hots, we'll split them, fry them, and when we're done, we'll flip them over and we'll put egg on them and fry an egg on them, right? So it's like a breakfast sausage hot dog.
Okay, that sounds pretty fucking phenomenal.
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
I mean, I know my wieners. I'm not new to this.
That's one of the reasons we're friends, buddy. No. So it's not bad. I do think the concept, it's an A concept. But the execution does need a little bit of work and some tweaking of the style. We had a listener text in saying that we should put slices of turkey on the hot dog.
Yeah, which isn't a terrible idea.
No, it's not a terrible idea. I'm just afraid it's going to be too hearty or too...
I think it turns it into more of a sandwich immediately.
Yeah, that's the thing. It almost like it turns it into a hot brown with a hot dog. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the idea is terrible. We will experiment with it. The idea of turkey sausage or turkey dogs is intriguing to me.
Yeah, and then of course we've already gotten feedback about dicing the tomatoes and or the bacon. And I think with this sauce, if we put it on the bun and then we flip it over soft side, right, not crust side, okay, and we grill it there, it'll hold that sauce and it'll make it crispy. So now it's toasting the inside of the bun.
All right, so you're pro hot dog bun as opposed to pro bread.
100%.
Okay, see, I'm still kind of torn because when we made it with the toasted bread, it was really good. I want you to try it with the toasted bread.
So what I would push for is
use my Tupperware lid
is split top bread.
Split top. Okay, I think I know the what you're talking about. It's like that hybrid bread. And
it's just like it looks like it's a hot dog bun that instead of splitting it down the side, they split it right down the middle.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's not a bad idea. That way, it's kind of like the best of both worlds, or both the best worlds, as Kenny Payne would say.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think because my favorite style of hot dog is it's either the slaw dog or it's going to be I know that not everybody likes them, but that Cincinnati Coney.
See, I lean towards that. I've always been, New York style hot dog, coleslaw mustard, it's not a coleslaw, or diced onions, something along those lines. A clear vegetable mustard, very simple. Yep. But I will say
the good old street dog.
As Jon Stewart says, the three ingredients every hot dog needs are mustard, onions, and stagnant cart water. And I do think there is something to it. But I will say, and Jamie brought this up, I've not really had Chicago hot dogs that often.
Really?
I've often kind of hated on them.
Well, now hold on. Have you been to Lonnie's?
I've never been to Lonnie's.
I'll see. We have to fix that.
Yeah. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about Lonnie's from my friends from Chicago.
Lonnie's is fantastic.
Yeah. I've heard nothing. So I want to try it.
Because you can get the Chicago dog. You can also get an Italian beef there.
Oh, God. You can get Italian beef there?
Absolutely.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to
listen. Lonnie doesn't play games.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but great things. Like I said, these are from like Chicago guys that like moved down here to play hockey. And
a lot like Chef John's at Chef's Cut all the time.
Right.
When you go in there at night, he's always going to be there.
Right. Lonnie's always there.
Lonnie's the main cook.
Oh, nice.
Lonnie and his wife most of the time.
Oh, fantastic!
They run that shop.
I love that. That's really good. It's always like closed when I'm free and I'm in that area because it
doesn't have hours. It has strange hours.
Yeah, right. Well, like a lot of mom and pop businesses do.
I think they might be open till like 5.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm always
closed early.
I'm always out that way. Past that.
Yeah,
usually after service hours. But I will say, my brother brought this up, and I felt the same way. I've never really had tomatoes on hot dogs before. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed. I don't know if I want to dice the tomato up because that diced tomato to me.
I like the whole tomato.
That's what I'm saying. Diced tomato to me feels like salsa, nachos, or Mexican. Yeah. It feels like Mexican.
I can do
like
that.
like tacos and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like diced tomatoes, but I just feel like that texture. To me, that's what I think. And
the tomato slice is important, and I think it's important inside of the hot brown.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
And I kind of feel the same way about the bacon. And that's why someone brought up an idea of wrapping the hot dog in bacon. Mm-hmm. This was actually part of the original committee outside my parents' house. And I like that concept. It's like bacon wrapped hot dogs. Oh my God, you get one of those leaving louder than life or something?
Yeah.
Fire. Absolutely fire. But not exactly hot brownie. And I feel like you need the full slice of hot dog or a full slice of bacon and the full slice of tomato for it to be hot brown-ish. That's why I'm not sure I want to dice either one of them.
The only reason I like the diced bacon idea, I think we should try it 2 different ways.
Right.
Because I think diced bacon can be really, really crispy.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
It's harder to have.
That's a very good point.
One piece of bacon that's really crunchy. And if you're not eating with a knife and fork like you traditionally would a hot brown, you're probably looking at like trying to pull the bacon. You're trying to, it's not going to snap the way that you want it to. Wait, listen, I already talked to Chef John at Chef's Cut Pizza. He will have us out there next week.
Fantastic.
And
love you, Chef.
And it's a go. We're gonna walk away from next week with a Louisville-based hot dog.
The Lou Dog. We're going to have the Lou Dog that perfected.
I don't know how we're going to get
closer to.
I don't know how we're going to get it into places, but I feel like Lynn Family Stadium should serve this.
The Lou Dog.
Yep, like up in the suites, like it's a.
Or if Lonnie's wants to start serving it,
if Chef's Cut wants to serve it,
the Lou Dog.
I don't think he does it. I don't think he does a bunch of wieners though.
No, well, I mean he makes bomb ass pizza.
I mean the sandwiches. That's one of the things that me and Tanner were talking about. The sandwiches that he makes are fantastic too.
Well, it's like I'm kind of glad we're doing this hot dog or this hot brown themed hot dog at Chef's Cut because their hot brown pizza is my favorite specialty pizza in the city.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's way up there.
Yeah.
If it's 1, 2, or 3 depending on the day.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Because barbecue chicken pizza.
The barbecue chicken's really good too.
The barbecue chicken pizza from the place we had before New York, old school New York,
old school New York pizza. That was really good too.
I think they do a fantastic.
That barbecue chicken and their buffalo chicken.
The buffalo chicken was very good too.
Yeah, both of them stood out to me. Those are really good. And I love. This is the thing. I don't know if you would consider this a specialty or not, but the caprese burrata pizza or whatever.
Okay.
At Matza Pie.
Yep.
Fresh out the oven. Has to be fresh out the oven because you get that crisp. Fantastic.
They did that
it's up there.
At the Kentucky Friends of Eve.
Yeah, the bocce. The one really brought out. Yeah, that was really.
They were rolling it right out of the back of their trailer.
Yeah, that was
I don't know how did that. Do they do that for everybody?
Matza Pie. They have
do like a catering.
Yeah,
thing?
they have the mobile pizza oven. They brought it to our golf event. They brought it to the bocce event. I know they do weddings. I know they do school parties and stuff. Yeah,
I mean that's
shout out to man Casper and the gang.
That's a next level move is to have
fresh pizza oven.
Pizza oven rolling out pies at your event.
And that's the thing. We're nothing if not fair here. Matza Pie, just because it's that artisan style.
Yeah,
you have to get it fresh because when it's there's certain pizzas that I think are better cold than they are fresh. Matza Pie is not one of them.
No,
you got to get it. It's not like it's inedible, but
it'll work.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes from, in my opinion, fresh out the oven, a 9 to a 5, whereas a lot of pizza places are probably both hovering around a 7.
Yeah.
It's so much better fresh. It's unique to me in that regard. But I'm telling you, when you get it fresh, especially if you get that like caprese style piece with the mozzarella balls on top, holy shit, that's so good. Oh my God, it's so fantastic.
I had some.
Put that against any pizza anywhere.
I had some of every at the Friends of Hibachi tournament. I had some of every one of them, and they don't mess up.
No, not at all. Now, with all that said, my favorite specialty pizza in the city is that hot brown pizza.
Yeah, I can see that
from Chef's Cut.
Yeah.
Like it is like because I've never had a bad slice of it. There's other sometimes like okay, Spinelli's. Yeah, like it's hit or miss. Sometimes they'll have a specialty pie and it slaps, and then I go another time and it's awful.
Yeah,
like Chef's Cut, it is always a 9.
I think Chef's got a unique situation because it's either like I think he's got 3 employees, and it's
something like that,
and it's him or the one girl, Carissa, has been there since the beginning of the restaurant.
Yeah,
and she's been involved, and everybody else is well versed on exactly how he makes his pie. So you get a consistent product.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you definitely, and consistency is like big time thing with
absolutely 100%
with anything, but especially pizza. All right, so we definitely are going to be talking a little bit more about the Lou Dog.
Yep,
we're going to be working on perfecting that. We also we came up with a burgoo dog too. I think it's a good idea. It's just going to be hard. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very, very simple. It's the bourbon infused hot dog and burgoo. Yeah. And that would be more for the state. The Kentucky dog would be, we think about making it like the BBN dog, like the big burgoo bourbon dog or something like that. So, but a lot more simple. I will say I when I made it this weekend, I basically got Campbell's chunky beef and vegetable soup. Yeah. Threw some molasses and flour in there and called it burgoo. Like it was my poor man's burgoo. Yeah. So, but it worked.
Which is funny because most burgoo is poor man's burgoo anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So it's not meant to be a fancy thing.
Yeah, right. It's just supposed to be rib sticking. So yeah, absolutely. All right, some sports.
College World Series.
College World Series. Batcats get the job done against NC State in dramatic fashion, which was the kind of the style of a lot of the games this weekend with a lot of walk-off action. What was it, 4 games you said? Was it 4 games that ended
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4? 3 out of the 4 games.
3 out of the 4 games were walk-offs. Yep. You had Tennessee walk it off versus Florida State, right? 12-11. You had UNC walk it off versus Virginia, right? And then you had Kentucky walk it off versus NC State.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So dramatic action over the weekend.
I think this might be the best College World Series competition-wise that we've had in a while.
Right.
Because you don't have close games like that.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of parity in it.
Did Justin just text you?
No, I don't know.
I just want to make sure that the
we'll do some on the air. Let's see here. I don't see anything.
Okay, good. I thought I saw Justin pop up. Yeah, I think we're good. I got some anxiety.
Yeah, no. Well, we're producing on the air. It's part of it's also part of the gas bag.
It's what we're doing.
Yeah. So anyway, no, you're talking about the competition, the parity, and
everything seems so equal. And the thing that's awesome about equality, right? And it's not that I want this to happen, but Kentucky might fucking win it,
right?
Like, there's nobody that is offensively an offensive juggernaut versus the other teams, right?
Oh, okay. So
it doesn't exist. There's not somebody that's going to be able to run away from another team.
Whereas in the past, you've seen that with an LSU.
Yeah, Tennessee might be able to figure some of that out. And honestly, I think Tennessee, even though they're the number 1 seed, is easily the most vulnerable because they're the worst on defense too.
Oh, okay.
Like of all the teams that are there, Tennessee was the worst defensive team, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so you're saying that somebody could probably sneak one past
somebody
them
could sneak up on them, and if their bats were hot that day and their defense is on, they might be able to smother Tennessee.
Yeah,
which is weird because for the majority of the year, Tennessee's been one of the 3 best teams in the country. They're incredible baseball program.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. And I do think it's interesting, UK, and I'd be lying if I followed the Batcats all year. I'm kind of getting
right. I didn't. Towards the end of the year, when it was clear that we weren't gonna be able to make it here at Louisville.
Yeah, exactly.
The wheels were falling off a little bit more than we wanted it to. I kind of started paying attention to them a little bit more because that last month was like they got on a roll. They've been good all year.
Right. They
got on a really good their momentum drove them to the number 2 team, 100%. So,
they definitely are a team that's been like building momentum throughout the year. Because I mean, they were a pretty balanced team.
Yeah,
I know at times they had some bullpen issues, but nothing to the extent Louisville's had this year. But by and large, they were a pretty balanced team. At least that's what the people that had been following them all year. Like when we interviewed Mark Story, said that they were a balanced team with a potent offense.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me. We had Ted Nicholson on, who works with Kentucky Downs.
Yeah,
his son Ryan.
Yeah, he's the first baseman.
Yeah, the first baseman is the leading home run hitter on the team with I think he had his 23rd over the weekend.
He did,
tying the game. He bats in the 6th hole. I was really interested. To me, that was very interesting that the best power hitter for the Cats is batting in the 6th spot.
They're a lot like the Louisville teams that we really loved. They are aggressive and fast on the bases.
Right.
They're going to push. And when they get on, they're going to make the pitcher uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. They're going to put him in precarious situations where he's not going to be able to execute the way that he wants to because he knows this guy on first is itching for an opportunity to go, and he's just looking for you to make a mistake so that he can go.
Right.
So, in reality, right, when you're stealing bases, catchers' pop times are all pretty consistent. And at that level, you got catchers with good arms that are accurate, right?
Right.
Very rarely do you get a just drastically bad throw.
Right.
Who you're stealing on the pitcher. So
I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
So what you're trying to do is delivery time to the plate. I think anything over 1.4 collegiately, even really professionally, 1.4 and 1.45. If you can't get the ball to the plate faster than that, they're going to take bags on you all the time.
Really?
Because they're that fast. And really, that's kind of you can even get some of their slower guys that if you're higher than 1.45. Some of their slower guys are going to take advantage of you.
Wow.
It's one of those things that
I didn't realize it was that.
It's a combination. It's a combination of times, right? So average lead, this is going to be super in depth here. Average lead is about 9 feet.
Okay.
So you got 81 feet to work with, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the speed that you run 81 feet. If you're faster at 81 feet than what the catcher's pop time is, which again, they're all pretty consistent in college baseball. But you take the catcher's pop time and you take the pitcher's delivery time to the plate. Mm-hmm. If you're faster than that, you're pretty much green light. You're going to be able to take this bag. And Coach Nick down there at UK is really pushing that particular style. That's how they're scoring. That's when he's talking about potent offense. Yes, there are guys hitting home runs. They are stealing bags all the time. They're constantly moving on the bases. And the less sure you are up there on the rubber, the more they're going to take advantage of you. And I hate it. They're really well coached. They're really well coached, man. And
Nick Mangione was the SEC Coach of the Year.
So baseball's one of the weird ones where I am deep down, I'm a Louisville terrorist when it comes to it. I love the university, and I love almost every sport that they play in. But I'm a baseball nerd. So when it comes to that sort of stuff, the little bitty pieces of the game,
right?
That's the kind of stuff that really super interests me. Mm-hmm. And in that, their level of execution and preparation down there at Kentucky right now.
You gotta tip your cap.
It is really good. This isn't accidental. This is that coaching staff being fully dialed in. And when you get a coaching staff like that and some talented players that really want to listen
and embrace the concept,
because you're not looking at Kentucky. You're not looking at like this like overwhelming group of first through third round picks in the MLB, right? There's going to be some of them go.
Right.
But when you get a team that plays together the way that they are doing right now, they're incredibly difficult to handle. Because, again, baseball is one of the weird ones, like having a Brennan McKay is great. But Brennan McKay can't play 9 positions.
Right. He did play a lot of positions.
Right. He can't, But he can't play them all at the same time,
right?
So he has to, whatever he's doing, he has to focus on doing his job. And what you need is 9 people dedicated to doing their job to the best of their ability all the time. And when you don't have that, that's when you get gaps. And for us at Louisville, the pitching staff has been a problem. And like, I don't want to blame anybody.
No, but the last 3 years,
it's been bad. And that comes down to, listen, the pitching staff has to execute. I know that, Coach McDonald has said several times, like he preaches like this whole, the pitcher's responsible for 1 strikeout per inning. That doesn't mean that every inning you're getting a strikeout, but like that you should average over your games. You should average a strikeout per inning. And that, hey, listen, if he's doing his job,
right,
the next thing he's doing is putting you all into places, the 7 people behind him, he's putting those people in positions to execute their job, right? Because when you're garnering a strikeout an inning on average, you're putting batters in precarious situations where you're really keeping them off balance, and then you're getting stuff like pop flies.
Right.
You're getting stuff like weak ground balls and stuff like that because the batters are stressed about a strikeout.
Right. Because you're hitting your spots and
exactly, because you're in control of what you're doing. So and that just the last 3 years, it's just we've just not been able to do it, and that's. I don't want to blame the pitching staff all the way too, because we have had games with goofy errors. We've had goofy behavior with the 7 behind, right? Mm-hmm. And that, again, everybody has to do their job to the best of their ability all the time. But
it starts with the pitch. It
starts with the pitcher's always going to take the most of the heat. My kid pitches, and when he goes out there and he's on the mound, if we're working on, because obviously he's 15, but we're working on the ideas, right? That sometimes the pitcher and the catcher, the battery are the leaders of the field at that particular moment most of the time.
Right.
Sometimes as one of the leaders on the field, you have to pull everybody together. You have to have that conversation, and you're not demonstrative. You're not an asshole to any of them, but you have to turn around and look and be like, guys, I'm going to do my best. I need everybody behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe some of the leadership in the clubhouse has been a little bit off for Louisville too. And listen, in Kentucky, it's not. They're one unit, dude.
Yeah.
It's really impressive to watch.
Well, I mean,
it really
shows what they're capable of. They've made it to Omaha and won their opening round game.
Yeah.
Who do they have next, by the way?
I just looked at that, and now.
Yeah, I know. Here, let me see if I can pull it up real fast.
Their side is NC State, and they're playing today.
Yeah, and I can't remember who it is. Let me see here. It is. They are playing Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Bless it.
Yep.
And Texas A&M
tonight at 6 p.m.
Texas A&M might be the best defensive team in.
Texas A&M beat Florida.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. One of the most efficient offensive teams against one of the most consistent defensive teams. Yep. So we will see what happens. Again, as we're recording this, we were recording this on a Monday.
Yeah.
They play tonight at 6 p.m. So we will definitely keep. It'll be interesting to see. We'll keep everyone abreast of.
Absolutely. Hopefully it stays as exciting as it is.
It's been fun. It has been fun.
I think
the Jello shot challenge is not.
Right.
Tennessee's just kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah, they're doubled up on the next on. They might have more than the next 3 competitors behind them.
They have. The last I saw, they had 8,000. In second place, I think, was UNC, and I could be wrong. I'm pulling it up here. Let's see if I can find it. I think they had about a 3,000 shot lead.
Yeah,
on second place.
But yeah, hopefully, because I like to see. Again, baseball's my favorite sport. And I like to see the attention that this is kind of garnering right now.
8,800, by the way. They had 8,802. Second place was Texas A&M at 5,078.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Yep.
And so, that was as a,
and LSU historically famous for crushing the Jello shots when they get there.
But Tennessee representing. Kentucky's right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
so they're doing a respectable job.
And they
drink it for the Commonwealth.
There's some excitement about being there and doing that challenge, and it being your first time to be able to go and do that.
Yeah,
like Kentucky's. We did well when we did it last time. I'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure we had a pretty good one because they've been doing it for 6 years, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say
6 or 7. Maybe
has Louisville been there since it really took off?
I don't think since it took off because we were there in 18, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the first year for it, and it became something bigger in COVID.
Yeah,
I think COVID was like some big movement with it.
The year really took off.
There was something. There used to be another challenge they did too. That was there. May have been beers. Really? But it wasn't at that bar. It
wasn't at Rocco's.
No,
that's a genius idea, and they raise a lot of money for charity. Which is really cool.
Absolutely. I think it started with they were trying to help a food bank.
Yeah, they do that with the food banks of the universities.
Yep.
So very cool stuff. Shout out Rocco's and everybody. It's also National Mascot Day.
It is
today.
Yep.
Favorite on the topic, the sheet of lies, we have favorite versus best.
Right.
Who's your favorite mascot? And what do you think is the best mascot?
My favorite mascot is the dunking bird, any cardinal bird, Heisman bird, any cardinal bird, period. That's my favorite. Louis. Louis is my favorite. But I also am willing to submit to the fact that he's also not the best.
I do love, I mean, if we're talking about like the drawings, as hopefully.
I'm even talking about like Louis in general, Louis at the football game, Louis at the basketball game. He's still my favorite.
Okay. I actually know one of the current guys. He works at, shout out my man Dom. He works at Lulu with me.
Okay.
He's the man under the mask for Louis. I love the new version of Louis.
Okay.
Where he's a little bit thinner,
yeah,
more streamlined version and everything.
Jacked Louis.
Yeah. That said, I do kind of miss the all red Louis. Just the bird.
Which I think we run both of them out at football games.
I think we do too.
Because Louis, and maybe even at some of the basketball games too, Louis, because the Jack Louis comes out like in the jersey and stuff like that.
Right.
And then the regular Louis comes out the way he's always been.
Well, wasn't
Big Bird
one of them called CB, like the cardinal bird or something like that?
I think that the regular bird is CB.
So, like, if they're going to do that, they should differentiate the two of them because they are not completely the same mascot.
They aren't.
And I like them both. And I do, like I said, I do like the streamlined Jack Louis, but because there's something to be said for the all red. It's aesthetically pleasing, the all red.
Like skinny. Run too?
I think. Well, I know they have a girl cat and a guy cat.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have anybody else. And I'm assuming the sexes of both, which I know it's dangerous. I'm assuming the sexes of both the cardinal birds is male. I'm not sure, but I do obviously have an affinity for the cardinal mascot. I will say my favorite mascot in the state is Big Red, though.
Western, always a good one.
Western,
absolutely.
Big fan of that one. I would say of all the mascots, he's probably my favorite. I used to love the Bellarmine Knight, especially when Pops was coaching there. That had some sentimental value. That said, I think the best mascot is Mr. Met.
It's a good choice.
In
That's a good one.
I love Mr. Met. I know Pops loves Mr. Met. I love Mr. Met. I think he's great. There are a lot of good baseball mascots. I will say of all the sports, I think the baseball mascots
probably the best.
Orbit is really cute.
What do they call? It's because there are two of them in Cincinnati too, right? There's
Mr. Redleg.
Mr. Redleg, which is he's again the more streamlined version of him, right?
Well, he's the one with the mustache.
The mustache.
Yeah, that's Mr. Redleg, the old school one. Then I guess there's Mr. Red. I'm not sure.
Mr. Red is the actual baseball, right?
Yeah, it's the actual baseball. Rosie Red, I think is his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And they have Diggum or something like that. Not Diggum, something. But he's got a dog, too. I can't remember his name. But those are good. Let's not forget that the Philly Fanatic is one of the all-time great ones.
That was going to be the one where I was going to say the Philly Fanatic is the best. Because the Philly Fanatic...
I can listen to that.
The Philly Fanatic will go on tour and appear at other people's ballparks.
Right.
Outside of what the Phillies do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
that's true.
I think he's kind of created
him and the San Diego Chicken were
the San Diego Chicken was a good one too.
I actually beat the San Diego Chicken in a race.
Did you?
At old Cardinal Stadium.
Yep.
They do, the mascot race. Yep. So the mascot starts on second, you start on home.
Yep.
Everything like that. Well, it happened to be the day the San Diego Chicken was there.
Yep.
So instead of racing the Cardinal bird, or the red bird. Yeah, the red bird, which I forgot his name, the red bird. Instead of racing the red bird, I got to race San Diego Chicken. Kicked his ass. Not saying, just saying.
Just saying.
I might have smoked that chicken, turned him into a chicken wing.
Those chicken legs weren't moving.
No, they weren't. But this chubby little Italian kids were chugging around the bases. So no.
So I've always been curious because I've never been picked to do that, nor have any of my children. How much influence did your dad have on that, making that happen?
A little bit. It did truly happen on my birthday.
Okay.
So it was one of those things, shout out. I think it was Greg Galliette.
Probably.
Greg Galliette and my dad have a wonderful relationship. Greg's one of the nicest people on the planet. I think he might have helped orchestrate it, but it truly was, the chicken just happened to be on Nick's birthday.
It was organic.
So yeah, it was organic, and it was so funny. Because afterwards, my dad had gotten to know the chicken.
Yep.
Through, I think he did some stuff with the V Foundation or whatever, but the guy who played the chicken. And so after the event, he's signing autographs for everybody. And I'm with Pops, and Pops goes, I can't remember what his name is, but he's like, Bill, how are you? And Bill, the guy under the suit, goes, oh, how are you? Good to see you, man. It was great seeing you. Love the city, man. Love the city. It's good to be out here. Yeah, good to see you. You're doing well. And we walk away, and it goes about 10 feet, and I'm only 5. I turn to Pops, and I go, he talks. I was like, it blew me fucking away. It blew me fucking away. I was like, it was like learning, that the mall Santa's beard wasn't real.
That could have went two ways, right?
Right.
Because it was either fascinating or terrifying.
It was both. It was definitely both. I mean, I was like, whoa, my dad knows the San Diego Chicken. This is so cool. And then I was also like, holy shit, he talks. That's fucking scary. So no, but that was awesome. Probably one of my favorite mascot. I will say also, by the way, anyone who's a mascot has ever done a mascot for whatever during the honor group of the day. Yeah. Have you ever been a mascot?
I have not.
It is fucking hell.
Yeah.
I was Clifford the Big Red Dog at a book fair.
Oh.
And it was just, they were, okay, we need someone to dress up as Clifford the Big Red Dog. I was like, fine, I'll do it. Jamie, the little brother, finds out it's me under there. Tells all of his little shit-ass friends. I got the crap kicked out of me for 2.5 hours, and I was sweating my balls off. That thing was so hot. I felt so bad when I gave it to the guy next to me.
Right.
Literally, it made a when I took the helmet, the head off. But dude,
I'm not doing it.
Getting your shit rocked by a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And then I finally swore at one of them, and that kind of broke. It was like, hey, fucking knock it off. And they were like, oh, Clifford swore. And that became a whole thing. But no, I did it one time. I'll do it again. But it was a harrowing experience.
I feel like Greg Galliette could pick that up.
Well, I mean, I'll be a mascot.
You could be Buddy the Bat.
Buddy the Bat. Guy who plays Buddy the Bat is one of the best. One of the best in the business. One of the best in the business.
You could be the old Buddy the Bat.
Maybe the old purple one. Yeah, maybe they can bring him out. It can be Buddy Jr. or something like that. Yeah. So college mascots, by the way, my favorites were always Sparty and the Orange from Syracuse.
Sparty's good one. So's the Orange.
Those are two of my because college mascots are so few and far between.
Good costume too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he looks like I love the green
because they could have went with just a dude dressed like a Spartan, right?
Right.
But then they developed the costume of a dude dressed like a Spartan.
Yeah, and he's very cartoony. But he doesn't look like terrifying like the Purdue mascot or something. Yeah, like
I never understood the head on the Purdue mascot.
I think it's the chin too. The chin throws people's off a little bit. He doesn't scare me as much as like some people make him out to be. I'm like, oh, come on, he's not that bad. Pete's not that bad. But there are some times where I'm like, yeah, I could see why this would maybe alarm children.
Right.
It actually falls into this thing I learned. I fell down this wormhole. It's called the uncanny valley. And it's this idea that like when something is human-like, but not human, it makes us go. It's called the uncanny valley because there's like a line, and it's like, okay, like this is appealing. Like, oh, it's a cute baby doll. Okay, fine. And then it goes, what the fuck is that thing? Kill it with fire.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to like a full human.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I'm not uncomfortable. But there's this little. It's called the uncanny valley, and it's like, okay, it's like why some people got really. Do you remember when they made the CGI Cats movie and like Taylor Swift was in it?
No.
They made like a Cats, like they made a movie, like, based on the musical.
Oh, okay.
But they turned them into like hybrid
I know what you're talking about.
And like, like the stage show, they look like cats.
Yeah.
But in the CGI movie, they're fucking humanoid, and it's just like, what the fuck is that thing?
They're
like,
Avatarian.
Yeah, and it's a little like, and so, but there was this thing that was scary. I saw somebody write about this. It was like they said something that's uncomfortable about the uncanny valley is this idea that at one point there was something that looked human but wasn't, and we deem it as a threat. So it's sort of like, what the fuck was that? Like an alien, like a demon? What was that? Like that. But it also could be someone just said that it's when someone looks sick or they look deathly.
Yeah.
They don't look completely human, and it could be something like where we just kind of.
Where does Rule 34 mark inside of that valley?
I don't know.
That's the proper rule, right?
It is Rule 34. That's the one where if it exists, there's porn of it. Yes. Yeah. No, there could be. But speaking of mascots, I'm sure there's some demented AI stuff out there.
Absolutely. Has to be.
God, I don't even want to think about that. Oh God, that would just ruin the Philly fanatic for me. And now I will say though, I could totally see Gritty or somebody like that being involved in porn. So the Flyers mascot.
Who is the best human mascot? Like no costume, like
I mean, what's the leprechaun or the
Seminoles' name at Florida State?
I forgot. That's a good one. That's a good one. I hadn't even thought of that.
I know it's Chief something, and I'm going to fuck it up, and I feel like I'm purposely not going to fuck it up because I'm pretty sure it was named after an actual person.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I don't want to.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yeah, no. I feel that.
And then of course
that's a great one. I didn't even think of that. I mean,
the Trojan at USC.
The Trojan. I was going to say the Leprechaun or the West Virginia, the Mountaineer.
The Mountaineer.
Yeah, because he shoots the rifle.
But at the same time, also fuck them.
Also, indeed, fuck them. Yeah. You could honestly say fuck both of them, Notre Dame and West Virginia.
I mean, West Virginia just so much more. I'll never feel good about ever, like, even if we end up in the Big 12, right? I'll never go back there. I had such a bad time.
I mean,
we kicked their ass,
right?
But at the same time, fuck them.
A lot of people. I would say, honest to God, in their heart of hearts,
I'll take 10 more losses at Clemson before I ever go back.
Wow. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you were to poll U of L fans,
way worse.
If you were to poll U of L fans in their heart of hearts, I feel like they despise West Virginia more than they do UK.
I'll hug James Strebel before I go back.
He's a huggable man.
Let's not get it. And he's a nice guy, but he's also a UK fan.
Yeah.
You know what? Me and James Strebel will attend a UK game together.
You guys are kind of...
Before I go back to West Virginia.
It's not kind of the same person, and you're both terrorists for your respective sport teams.
Yeah, I agree. He's better at it than me, I think.
But you're both like really nice guys off.
Yeah.
You know, when people like, so I'm sure there's UK fans that are like, fuck Jenky. I'm like, he's pretty good peeps. Same thing. Like, a lot of U of L fans are like, man, fuck Strebel. And it's like, if you actually got to know him, he's pretty good.
Nice guy.
He's pretty great guy. Yeah. No, for sure. What else we got? Oh, okay. I kind of wish Tanner was here for this because I feel like he could weigh in on it.
Which one?
But we can touch on it a little bit more. U.S. Open over the weekend.
Yep.
Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, Jenks. I am,
but not in the way that I was.
Not in the modern,
not in the way that I was when I was 16.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I was an Attitude Era guy. I kind of faded after that.
No, that's a lot of people did. I kind of figured. But you're familiar with the term face and heel.
Absolutely,
the good guys and the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
DeChambeau has made such a face turn recently.
Yeah, I agree.
And it started with I think the video of him at the.
Who was his fight with before?
Brooks Koepka.
That's right.
Yeah, he had a beef with Brooks Koepka. And then, honestly, it kind of started there. They, I think, kind of buried the hatchet, or at least they buried it enough to do the match where it was Bryson DeChambeau and I think Brady against Brooks Koepka and Aaron Rodgers, I think.
Yeah, that was on Netflix or something.
Yeah, they did some sort of special there. So I think that was the start of it. And then he just kind of has matured and been way more friendly with the media and everything. And I mean, you see the video of him yelling at the guy who stole the golf ball from the kid at the PGA.
Yep.
And then he's driving around, doing, after the U.S. Open, of course he's going to be happy after the U.S. Open, but he goes out of his way to do every interview, sign every autograph.
Because he's won it twice in a row, right?
I don't know if it's 2 in a row. I know that's a second. I know that's a second U.S. Open. I don't know if it's 2 in a row. I should know that, but I don't. But I'm saying, I don't think there's a bigger face turn in sports right now than what DeChambeau's done. He's also fun to watch. He hits it a fucking mile.
Oh, yeah, no, he's an incredible golfer. And he's on just like, as much as Scotty Scheffler's on a tear right now.
And Scotty is on a generational tear. Right
so
not a great weekend, but
DeChambeau is on his heels at the exact same time. I think out of the last, there was some stat, out of the last 3 majors, he was 6th, 2nd, and 1st. He won, he placed 2nd, and then was 6th out of the last 3.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Like Scheffler's maybe a little bit doing.
Well, Scheffler's also winning other events.
Right.
That's the thing. DeChambeau isn't. But he is.
To be fair, too, DeChambeau's not playing.
Also true. The live thing.
He's playing live golf, which I don't believe is getting the same coverage. So I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But that's a very good point with the whole live thing, and that was something that made him all the more polarizing when he joined live and everything like that. It didn't bother me as much, but it wasn't something I was a huge fan of.
I was looking at, because that was the thing that brought up the DeChambeau, was him being left off the Olympic team because he won't be in the top 4 American golfers when it becomes time to make that
because cut. He hasn't done enough
because
PGA
he hasn't done enough PGA events.
Right.
Like it doesn't, like, I think there's one more big tournament and it doesn't matter where he could win it and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like whatever the next major is. British?
Yeah, I think it's the Open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because doesn't it go Masters, PGA, US Open? I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he can win it, and I don't think it won't be enough to put him in number 4. And that's because they're not taking in account of the Live Tour stuff.
Right. It's only PGA.
It's only PGA events that they're scoring for top golfers. And again, it's him and Scotty Scheffler are probably the 2 best golfers in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like they're way up there.
Yeah. No, the kid from Sweden, that Oberg, Lucas Oberg. Yeah, he's balling pretty hard ever since the Masters too. But yeah, no, you're right. I think in terms of I don't know where they are in the national ranking. I know Scotty's 1. I think DeChambeau's 2nd. If he's not, I know he's in the top 5. But no, absolutely. It'd be a shame if you wouldn't be able to qualify. But I mean, that's one of those things where, if you want to chase the money, and I didn't really have I didn't want to hate on people chasing the money, but
I don't think it's a big deal.
There were ramifications to it. But at the same time, I'm kind of with you. Like, I feel like you should just pick the best,
best four. But I guess they have, in order to be fair, you have to have a criteria for best four.
No, that's true. But it's just,
but maybe they should figure out a way to compute in some of the live stuff or do it better. I don't know how much it factors in, but do it better.
Yeah. And maybe in the future we'll see that. I don't know, but no, it's definitely worth taking a look at. Now, I wanted to say a guy that it was as PGA could be, our man Rory.
Yep.
Down the stretch, going toe to toe with Dechambeau.
Yep.
That rhymes. Bogeys 3 of the last 5 holes, including the last hole. And I wanted to ask you this, Jenky, because on the V Show we have a definitive definition
of choking,
of what choking is. And choking is when you do things going down the stretch, you at the enormity of the moment, alter your game. Right. Like it's one thing to just be like, well, they didn't play as good as they could under the brightest of lights. No, it's when you're a star pitcher and you don't trust your fastball.
Right.
It's you don't trust your stuff. You do something to at the expense of being smart. You do something to be clever, and that's what Rory did basically. The last hole.
Yeah.
The last hole, he was tied. He didn't need to score. It'd be different. It'd be different if he was like, "Hey, I'm trailing at this point. I need to score here. I need to do something extraordinary."
Right.
He was tied with Dechambeau and decided to hit driver, I believe. And he even said it himself. And he had played this way the last 3 rounds.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, it's going to take some boring golf to win this week. He had basically
the big thing was the greens were unreal fast.
Yeah, they were incredibly fast, but he had played the hole in a more conservative manner.
The 3 rounds prior.
The 3 rounds prior. And he even said in a meeting with the press that was his game plan going in. He didn't need to score going into that last hole, yet he does something like, hit driver that last hole. It affects his next shot. He gets another bogey. And, I mean, he wasn't putting well. I know that there's a lot of different instances, but it seems like this is a clear-cut example of the V Show, at least, the V Show definition of choking.
Doing something different than what you've been doing.
Because you're letting the enormity of the moment dictate your actions.
When you talk about it like that, you look at, and I realize that it's probably not the players, but you look at the interception in the Super Bowl that Russell Wilson throws to the Patriots.
Right.
Like,
I feel like that's a definition of choking.
Like that's a no-brainer. You hand the ball off
to beast mode
to Marshawn Lynch and you win the Super Bowl.
You're 2 yards away from pay dirt.
Right. You're second down.
Yeah.
Right?
Second
down and we're throwing.
No, but that's exactly, I feel like that's the perfect definition of choking.
I agree.
You let the enormity of the moment. You danced with the girl that brought you, which was beast mode.
You outsmarted yourself in the situation.
Right, exactly.
Because the situation was so big.
I mean,
that's a really good definition for it, and I don't know that I want to change anything about how you would define that because the term choke gets thrown around a lot. Yeah,
and I don't feel like it's necessarily the case all the time
because I don't obviously and the yips, right?
Right.
So. I don't know. I don't consider the yips something that's choke, right? And I think that happens to a lot of people, but I don't think it happens I think it happens like casually, like you get the yips casually. Like it's not a.
Wasn't that kind of what the yips are? Like they kind of come out of nowhere, and you just all of a sudden
like the pressure doesn't dictate what's happening to you. Like we've got a kid that I coach. That he is, I tell you what, in practice, throwing bullpens, this kid's good.
Right.
But he gets a batter in the box and like something happens.
All of a sudden he forgets how to play.
He it's something about what's going on in his brain. We can't get him to just calm himself and treat it like he's throwing a bullpen. So so now, and it was funny, we were talking about it when we were playing the other weekend. Like you're looking at it's a bad experience somewhat for the kid because he's struggling. His brain's his brain's telling his body to do something, and none of them are talking well together because it's not executing. But for the batter's like massively uncomfortable because now this kid's thrown behind him twice.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's thrown a strike and thrown behind him twice.
It's like, this kid's all over the place.
I have no idea what's coming.
Right.
Like, I can't be, I don't feel safe. Like, am I getting hit?
This kid doesn't know where it's going.
Yeah,
how the hell am I supposed
to
know where it's going? Right.
So like that, and we were kind of chuckling and laughing about it because you're like, how stressful is that?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, it's probably awful, especially if you don't like getting hit. But yeah, like that's a good definition of choking because I think when we talk about some of the stuff that's happening in the two final series that are going on right now with hockey and with the NBA, right? You literally watched them play Game 4 differently. Both teams played Game 4 differently than they had played the previous 3 games.
Right.
And I don't know that that's indicative of how, because I still think Florida's going to win.
Yeah, no,
I think Florida's going to go home and they're going to win. And sometimes
I think the Celtics win tonight.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if that's intentional.
Right.
Like, hey, guys, let's pump the brakes a little bit. We know we can play this way and we can produce this consistent thing in Game 5. Let's win it at home. That sounds like a crazy thing to say, though, right?
Right.
Because there's no guarantee. It's just 3-0 has never been. You've never come back from.
It's never happened.
So, right. You feel pretty good about yourself. But then again, a sweep is just damn. A sweep is almost as rare sometimes. Well, you don't get to watch a lot of professional championship series sweeps.
It's wild to me that both series were like mirroring each other.
Oh no, because Florida was just both teams,
Oilers. Florida and Boston were doing they were executing. It wasn't like they changed anything in the championship.
They did exactly what they wanted.
They were doing exactly what they wanted, what they had been doing. They just ratcheted it up to 10.
Yep.
We're super efficient. Boston moving the ball.
Yep.
The Panthers suffocating on the forecheck.
Yep.
They got consistent play from their star players. The Celtics got good play from Brown. They got good play from Tatum. They got good play from their bench. Porzingis chipped in. Bobrovsky was standing on his head.
Listen,
for the Panthers. I mean, they were dancing with the girl that brought them.
As a hockey noob, the Panthers goalie Bobrovsky. Is that
Bobrovsky, Sergei Bobrovsky. Yeah.
What he's done as the goalie for those 3 games was mind-blowing to me.
Right. Now it was
unbelievably awesome to watch happen. And I assume that like in the same way that like everybody really likes offense, like if you're banging goals around, like if the series is, if every game is 6-5, it's probably a smidge more exciting to watch.
Right.
But I'll be damned if that wasn't fucking cool.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he was
everywhere. There was no hole.
No,
there was none.
No, and he got some lucky bounces, but he was also putting himself in position.
Right.
Like if you look at his rebound control and everything like that, like he was doing a really good job. Now they managed to put 3 goals in on him.
Yeah.
In Game 3, and sure enough, that led to the floodgates opening in Game 4, and they buried 8 goals on him. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was so weird. Like you had a team that was dominating the other team the first 3 games of the series. And then to get shellacked in Game 4. Yeah. I mean, the Mavericks, Luka looked like a man possessed. And they beat him by almost 40 points.
Which I thought was going to I thought that the Celtics were going to be able to handle it because I thought what they were going to do is they were going to give Luka his space in Game 4 and let him do what he wanted to do to a point.
Right.
It's just shots weren't falling for them.
Do you think the refs had anything to do with it? Because Maven brought up the point that he felt like Luka was getting more of those calls that he was used to in Game 4.
I think he Again, I don't want to. Luka's a great player.
Yeah,
and
he drives me nuts. I think
when I say this in the same way that I say LeBron.
Yeah,
right. I don't hate either one of them, but
they drive me nuts.
But I'll be damned.
They both drive me
fucking crazy.
Oh my god, they drive me.
I mean, it's
they get a call and they're still complaining.
And not that every star player in the NBA doesn't do this, because they do. You know, Giannis does it. Tatum does it. Obviously, LeBron does it. You see a lot of these guys. Kevin Durant. All of these guys are borderline soccer players.
Right. Maybe I'm being a Knicks fan here, but I don't think Brunson does it that as much compared to the other
I don't
ones.
think he's a star enough yet.
Ooh, good point.
I don't think he's in their. He's adjacent to their stratosphere. He is not.
No, he's in that second tier.
He's not. Fair. He's not KD. He's not LeBron. He's not Luka.
He's in that tier 2. Yeah. He's high on tier 2, but he's tier 2. That's
absolutely.
Fair. That's fair.
Which I think if he elevates into that, it'll get highlighted a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the other.
Because
that's the other thing.
Sometimes I feel like they think they are owed that because of their stature.
Yeah. They're probably used to it too.
Oh yeah,
to a certain extent.
Yeah,
you're used to getting calls when you're, star player, right, and you get more
when you're
benefit
when you're one of the
10
best in the league. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, you're going to get
preferential treatment, whether it be,
but yeah,
or otherwise.
Again, I think Boston ends it tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they end it in the Garden. I don't know if it was planned or not, but I feel like it's going to go that way.
I think it's going to be Boston winning in 5 tonight. I do think that the Oilers get one more against the Panthers.
They're back in Florida, right? This follows the same. Does this follow how do they
do the same thing that the NBA does?
So it's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting. But I think the Oilers they just have so much firepower. When they're clicking, you saw it. Connor McDavid, by the way, is breaking Gretzky's record of most assists in a postseason. Yeah. Speaks volumes to their offense. Draisaitl's fantastic. I think they got enough firepower. And Bobrovsky, as good as he is, sometimes can be inconsistent. I do think that when you give up 8, it fucks with you a little bit. I think that they might have the ability to steal one more against the Panthers, but the Panthers get it done in 6.
Well, they got to do it on Tuesday, right? Tuesday's their game.
The Oilers or the the Oilers.
They play Tuesday night.
Yeah. No, and I think they win. I think the Oilers win Game 5 Game 5, and then they lose Game 6.
I'm going to take the Panthers, and I'm going to say something. I'm going to say there's a Tkachuk hat trick.
Wow. Okay. He's been good too.
I believe that offensively he's one of the bigger stars in the NHL, and I think that he steps up into that role of I was supposed to close this out in 4. I was supposed to be part of the way that we did this, and he comes up with a hammer.
He's a potent scorer, and he's a great leader. I like Tkachuk a lot. I hate him, playing against him, but right. I do think he's a terrific player. And
this is me as a hockey dude.
No, I don't disagree with that take, because I do think he's the type of guy that would pull like a Messier-esque guarantee and be like, yeah, fuck that.
I'm doing this.
No, we should have ended this shit earlier. Sorry about those 8 goals.
Yeah, find me on the ice. I'll be there.
Yeah, and well, I'll put it this way: if they are going to win, he's going to need to have a big game.
Yeah,
because he is one of their more potent scorers, especially in the postseason. So we will see. All right. With that said, I think it's about time we bid you adieu.
Yep, we can wrap this up.
Episode 20 in the book. Shout out our man Justin Soforo for getting this up.
Hey.
Appreciate you, my friend Paisan. We'll save a wiener for you. I kind of want to. What the hell? Why is this?
I have no
tape down. That was weird.
Mallet.
Yeah, the mallet. I wanted to bang the gavel. This is Process's hammer, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, randomly we found this rubber hammer, and Process would just walk around the studio threateningly with it.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because, it's Process. And so we managed to hold on to Process's hammer, and it's here at the ESPN Louisville Plus studio. So we will bid you adieu. Shout out, man, Tanner. Wasn't able to join us today. My man Jason Jenkins at Jenky, your boy. Nicky V at Nicky Vespin. So, we appreciate you guys listening. We are going to be at Chef's Cut
next week.
That's the game plan?
We are going to nail this.
The Lou Dog, baby. Yep. The Lou Dog.
The next time they make a hot dog description picture, it's going to have to be there. Of course, we're probably going to have to get somebody to actually sell this thing.
Yeah, well, maybe we can holler at Lonnie's. Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to have to. If you'd be interested in selling the Lou Dog, yes, by all means, add it to your menu and credit us somehow. or just give us a free Lou Dog in the future.
Free Lou Dogs whenever.
Free Lou Dogs, yeah, for founding members.
Yep.
I feel like the founding member committee has expanded now to about a dozen. So there's about a dozen of us that
have solid input on.
Have solid input in the Lou Dog. So with that said, again, one more time,
Jason Jenkins,
Nicky V. We appreciate you listening to us, and give us a follow on Twitter at
Jenky your boy,
at Nicky Vespin, and at Tanner Brute 28. Shout out to our friends at ESPN Louisville Plus. Like, share, and subscribe, please, guys. We are past the 1,000 mark, but we are still a good ways away from our next milestone, which is 5,000. So we really appreciate you sharing, and subscribing, and doing all that shit that they always say to do on these videos. But it really does mean a lot when you guys do that. So share, subscribe. Thank you so much for listening to episode 20 of Gas Bags Radio in the books. Bang, bang.